Dear listeners, sometimes on Hard Choices, we engage in what you might call popular bonerology or casual bonerology. When MeganBob screams about their giant boner for, say, Gruffy Gummy from Gummy Bears, they're speaking to lay people about a boner that's perfectly obvious to anyone in the field. Who's the most fuckable gummy bear? Clearly it's Gruffy. I learned that in AP bonerology in high school. This is not cutting edge stuff. We are doing boner communication more than anything. But not today. After every 21 episode season of Hard Choices, we set aside a special episode to fire up our electron boner scopes and advance the field by doing the hard work of micro bonerology, ranking the comparative fuckability of every median fuckability character from the previous 21 episodes. Every one of these characters has already been ranked the most middling fuck in a wide field of options. Now it is our task to lay them side by side, so to speak, and, using the delicate instruments at our disposal, minutely quantify the microcosmos of forgettable fucks that fall between a C- and a C+. Our goal in this research is to discover the zenith, the nadir, and most importantly, the median of indifferent fuckability. If you're a casual, if you're only interested in pop bonerology, you can wait for some charismatic boner communicator to digest these findings and narrate them to you. A Wank Green, if you will.
Oh, come on.
A Neil deAsse Tyson. If you like, a Malcolm Gladwell.
I don't know about that one.
Oh, fuck.
They'll give you the highlights of all the mind-numbingly average humps we've endured this season. But in serious quantitative bonerology, it isn't about all the average humps. It's about the normal curve they formed along the way. I know, see? I could have closed on good wordplay, but I thought this seemed more appropriate.
Well, at least you wash the taste of Malcolm Gladwell out of my mouth.
Lord mercy.
I'm Kris Newton, and joining me in this multidisciplinary delve into microbonerology are forensic hornitologist Annie Craton.
Hello, I've been on this show before. I've made some of these jokes before, and by God, you'll like them again.
Astrophysicist with 4 full S's, Dan Mulkerin.
I am only here because Bob promised they wouldn't make me fuck Plastic Man a third time.
And our token soft scientist, clitorary anthropologist, MeganBob.
In revisiting these characters, I may have made some mistakes.
Now, we are about to make some very fine distinctions. So before we begin, MeganBob, will you please remind us how we've operationalized the term fuckability?
Fuckability isn't about what they look like. It's about what they fuck like. So just really assume that you're into them and they're into you. How good is the sex? And what is it like?
All right, with that, we're about to reveal our list of Season 2 medians, but there are actually a few characters who we are too interested in to talk about tonight. So let's take a moment to acknowledge them in honorable mentions. So you wouldn't think there would be honorable mentions for a medians episode, but in fact, sometimes there's a tie for the median position. And when that's happened, we have selected the true median, the character with the lowest deviation in rankings. So that leaves a lot of medians off the list. There are a bunch of them, so we're just going to quickly run them down. They include Jace Beleren from Magic the Gathering Planeswalkers.
Also, the Fresno Nightcrawlers from Cryptids.
Inspector Gadget from 80s cartoon icons.
Byakuya Kuchiki, Saijin Komamura, and Ikaku Madarame from Bleach.
Cyclops from X-Men.
And finally, Lizard and Shocker from Spider-Man.
We also had some other medians who I wish could have made the list, but they weren't in numbered episodes. Notably, I believe the Odd Couple from the Nick at Nights couples episodes. True medians, but yeah, not for this list.
Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, very bad for them. I think the record will attest. All right, with honorable mentions out of the way, prepare yourselves for mediocrity as we unveil the median fucks of Hard Choices Season 2.
Number 1, the Devil from episode 22, Tarot Major Arcana. This tarot card represents, broadly, the dark impulses of human nature. This card placed median between the Zenith, a tie between the Fool and the Lovers, and the Nadir, the Emperor. In that episode, Kris ranked the Devil as his median.
Number 2, Karn from episode 23, Magic, the Gathering, Planeswalkers. Karn is a silver golem with the power of all the mana colors and placed median between the Zenith, Nicol Bolas, and the Nadir, Tezzeret. In that episode, MeganBob ranked Karn as their number 1.
Number 3, Yvette from episode 24, Clue. Look, Bob needed some time off, and somehow, when Bob is away, the show gets even weirder and more niche. Yvette is the sexy housekeeper of the Clue Manor house and placed median between the Zenith, Miss Scarlet, and the Nadir, Colonel Mustard. In that episode, Kris ranked Yvette as his number 1.
Number 4 is Oberon from episode 25, Gargoyles, the king of the fairies and the somewhat convoluted mythology of this baby goth Disney cartoon. He ended up as the median between the Zenith, Demona, and the Nadir, Lexington. In that episode, Bob named Oberon their number 1.
Number 5, Silver Sable from episode 26, Spider-Man. A sexy mercenary, the only kind we're aware of, who serves as a frequent ally and occasional enemy of Peter Parker. She was our median between the Zenith, Kraven the Hunter, and our Nadir, Harry Osborn.
Number 6, Solus from episode 27, Dragon Age. Solus is an elf who is, surprise, not really an elf, but rather a dark god of trickery or betrayal or something. This guy made it to our median spot between the Zenith, a 4-way tie between Flemeth, the Iron Bull, Varric, and Zevran, and the Nadir, Meryl? Not a video game that I played, folks. In that episode, Annie ranked Solus as her Nadir.
Can't believe I did that.
Number 7, Coriolanus from episode 28, Shakespeare, the first one. A celebrated Roman general with an authoritarian rage boner, Coriolanus, from the play of the same name, ended up in the median spot between the Zenith, Catherine from Taming of the Shrew, and the Nadir, Angelo from Measure for Measure.
Number 8 are the Dark Watchers from episode 29, Cryptids. Like a lot of cryptids, they're kind of a vague shape seen at a distance, but they hang out on the Santa Lucia Mountains in California and just kind of watch. They landed in the median spot between the Zenith, Mothman, and the Nadir, the Dairy Fairy? Dairy Fairy. You say it exactly the same, even though they hit synaptically slightly different, I guess.
Number 9, She-Ra from episode 30, our live show at Rose City Comic-Con, 80s cartoon icons. As unbelievable as it might be, She-Ra, the Princess of Power herself, ended up as our median, in front of an actual audience, no less. She ranked between the Zenith, Pizzazz from Gem, and the Nadir, Gargamel from the Smurfs.
Number 10, Bobby Newport from episode 31, Parks and Recreation. The Pawnee Wet Blanket Trust Fund baby was our median between the Zenith, Donna Meagle, and the Nadir, John Ralphio Saperstein.
Number 11, Soifan from episode 32, Bleach. Soifan, the no-nonsense captain of Squad 2, who still carries a torch for her former bodyguardee. She ranked as our median between the Zenith, Shunsui Kyoraku, and the Nadir, Genryusai Yamamoto.
Number 12, Saravok from episode 33, Baldur's Gate. This ball spawn and would-be Lord of Murder, ball spawn, ranked as our median between the Zenith, Karlach, and the Nadir, Edwin. Karlach? Karlach?
Karlach.
Karlach. It's one of those.
Number 13, Wee John Feeney from episode 34, Our Flag Means Death. A big, fey, amiable pirate who ranked as our median in that episode between the Zenith, Spanish Jackie, and the Nadir, Ricky Barnes.
Number 14, Dragon, the one from Shrek, from episode 35, Dragons. The median dragon in our Dragons episode was Dragon, the one from Shrek, who is known only as Dragon. Dragon, the one from Shrek, ranked between our Zenith, Draco from Dragonheart, and our Nadir, H.R. Pufnstuf, from H.R. Pufnstuf.
Has less ever been said with more words? I think not.
Oh, I love that joke, baby. It's such a good joke. I hate that joke. I love that joke.
Number 15, The Counselor from episode 36, Firefly. a government official and, gasp, female client of the companion Inara, who ranked as our median in that episode between the Zenith, Zoe, and the Nadir, Atherton Wing.
Number 16, Ben Gates from episode 37, Nicolas Cage 2. A historian and cryptologist from the National Treasure films, a series determined to make you believe that AP US history is for cool kids. Gates ranked as our median between the Zenith, Castor Troy from Face Off, and the Nadir, Joe from Bangkok Dangerous. In that episode, MeganBob rated Ben Gates as their Nadir.
Number 17, Kate Pryde from episode 38, X-Men. A longtime member of the X-Men, most famous for her mutant intangibility powers and for calling Charles Xavier a jerk. She ranked as median between our Zenith, Gambit, and our Nadir, the aforementioned jerk.
Number 18, Guile from episode 39, Street Fighter. A martial artist, Air Force pilot, and overachieving patriot. He fights for his country in the air and on land. He has a tattoo of the American flag on his right and left biceps. God double bless America. We gave Guile the median spot between the Zenith, Poison, and the Nadir, Sakura.
Number 19, Peter, from episode 40, What We Do in the Shadows. The vampire with the most pressing dental issues and the least dialogue, Peter wound up our median between the Zenith, Laszlo Cravensworth, and the Nadir, Colin Robinson.
Number 20, King Kai from episode 41, Dragon Ball. In a world of fight scenes that take all season, centered around a man who doesn't know where babies come from, I guess it makes some kind of sense that we landed on a somewhat spherical catfish head of state for our median. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else in Dragon Ball. King Kai was our median between the Zenith, Bulma, and the Nadir, Mr. Satan.
And finally, number 21, Saeed from episode 42, Lost. Sure. He was employed as a professional government-paid torturer, but enough people still wanted to fuck him that he ended up as number 11, because that's how this show works. He landed as our number 11 between the Zenith, the Man in Black, aka the Fog Monster, and the Nadir, Michael.
All right, great job all around, pretending that we have feelings about these characters. Let's keep this energy. Let's continue to lie as we talk about how we really feel about these 21 characters as we enter our rankings. Annie, your number 11.
My number 11 was Peter from What We Do in the Shadows. Now, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I understand, Nosferatu fucking is in again. He's not exactly my pale, clammy, withered dick cup of tea, but hell, I'm game. Let's climb into the box of dirt. What the hell? Let's
go. All right, Dan, your number 11.
So my number 11 is Wee John Feeney. On fundamentals alone, I feel like he's, maybe a C+ at best, but his cuddle game really pushes him up to another level. And plus, he does show a real talent for drag, so I think some fun gender play stuff is, entirely on the table. And, even if the sex is kind of a dud, I could at least, go to karaoke with him. I'll bet he does a mean version of Pink Pony Club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My number 11 is Ben Gates. So I did tiers this time because I was bored. Making the list. On this list of medians...
Like you need a special occasion.
On this list of medians, I have in the very middle a boring dudes tier, which is to say a tier of dudes who are boring, even in a crowd of median fucks. And in the very center of the boring dudes tier is Ben Gates. I have absolutely nothing to say about Ben Gates. I looked up YouTube compilations. There aren't any. I listened to the Nick Cage 2 episode of Hard Choices, and I could hear my struggle echoed back at me from the hosts. So I watched National Treasure to glean deep insight into the character of Ben Gates. And what I learned is that's the wrong way to watch that movie. I am, as far as I can tell, after much soul searching, 100% indifferent to fucking Ben Gates. MeganBob, you're number 11.
The Devil. I rank the Devil card as number 6, and on this list, I have to say the darker impulses still have some pull with me. You want to get fucked by the actual concept of a bad idea. This card is there for you. It may not be cool to say this. It probably is not cool to say this. But sometimes things don't... Kids, don't listen to this podcast, number 1. Number 2, don't listen to this part in particular. Sometimes things that are bad for you and things that are a bad idea can still feel really good. That's not to say that they usually feel really good, but they definitely can feel really good. And I'm choosing to interpret this card as the way it feels when you know it's real fucked up, but it still hits just right. Sure, you have to unpack it with your therapist later, but the memory of those orgasms, that's forever.
All right, Annie, you're number 12.
My number 12 is Wee John Feeney. All right, look, I watched the first season of this like ages ago. The wiki is very scanty on information on this guy, so like my impression is he seems like a perfectly good big beefy bear, and it'll probably be nice to have sex, and we can like talk about knitting or crochet afterwards. He doesn't really leave much of an impression on me. He seems nice. I'm already struggling.
All right, Dan, you're number 12.
So my number 12 is Guile. And I've been on quite a few episodes of this show, and so for a lot of these characters, it's going to be my second time evaluating them. And I was kind of disappointed on the previous Medians episode that I didn't really come in with like, I basically just came in with like the same take that I had before. So this time I was like, all right, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to like take a different perspective. You know, I'm not going to repeat my take. I'm going to try to look at these characters differently from how I did before. So for Guile, I thought about like what happens if you get to know him well enough in Street Fighter 6. He eventually talks about taking his daughter to one of DJ's concerts.
Aww.
And his daughter's like a big fan of DJ, but Guile himself doesn't really care about the music. But nonetheless, like, there he is. You even see a little snapshot of the moment. Like, Guile's daughter is laughing and singing along. She's having the time of her life. Guile is standing directly behind her, arms crossed, stoic expression on his face, performing his duties as a father. So, 2 things we know about Guile. Number 1, he has a strong sense of personal responsibility. And number 2, he knows how to take orders. Like, he may not be the most passionate or enthusiastic lover you've ever had, but damn it, he gets the job done.
All right. My number 12 is Oberon. My boring dudes tier continues with Oberon. Tedious is the word that comes to mind. The only thing that moves the needle on him is zero sum. The fact that he might lose control and get angry. If I'm lucky, that could turn him from kind of an officious, stodgy Dom kind of character to a force of nature. Like, that's got to be in him somewhere. He's the fairy king. If I'm unlucky, though, he'll just sneer at me and turn me into a statue or whatever. With those 2 unlikely extremes balancing each other out, getting turned into a statue, having a real good fuck, those balance on hard choices. What I'm mainly ranking is the probability that this big blue bastard is just going to give me the sexual equivalent of a royal wave. Just a slow, controlled, impersonal simulacrum of connection. And generally, I prefer for sex to make me feel something other than a whiff of anti-monarchical sentiment. MeganBob, you're number 12.
Karn. So I ranked Karn as my number 1 in Magic the Gathering, Planeswalkers. It's fun to say. You've gotten me hooked on it. You know what? I'm going to take Magic, the Gathering, Planeswalkers. And the thing is that I have to come back to it now, and in a more sober frame of mind, acknowledge that the sex itself may not be very good. I mean, he can't come on you. That alone, huge bummer. What a bummer. Also,
I don't know, man. The 5 colors of magic can make a lot of things happen.
Okay, well, I don't know enough about Magic. Look, nobody took me aside and said, actually, Bob, if you get enough mana colors, you can make cum shoot out of anywhere. Also, he doesn't have a dick and thus can't fuck you. And yet again, a bummer. But he can and will fuck you with his heart. Which is something a lot of people with dicks, strap on or otherwise, can never give you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Annie, you're number 13.
It was Bobby Newport from a show I haven't seen.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Yeah, I know. Parks and Rec, it takes place ostensibly like right around where I grew up, hypothetically. I looked at some clips for Parks and Rec. I got to see Indiana State Flag, which I'm nostalgic for because Washington State Flag sucks so fucking much. It's the worst design for a state flag. I hate it. Just look it up.
I'm doing it right now.
Trust me. You'll be like, oh. Anyway, okay. So Bobby Newport. All right, let's pull up the himbo trifecta. Oof. All right. Stupid. Absolutely. Kind. Sorta. Beefy. I'm also just from the clips that I watched, I'm not convinced that he knows what sex is in kind of a Goku way, and I'm just not really someone with the patience/stubborn drive of Chi-Chi.
Well, I'll skip the line because my number 13 is also Bobby Newport. In an experience that only hard choices could give me, I am struggling to make a distinction between Bobby Newport and Oberon the Fairy King. It's not that they're similar characters in any other way, but for hard choices purposes, what we basically have are two obnoxious, powerful, immature men who aren't as attractive as they think they are and probably can't fuck worth a damn unless they're pushed way over the edge, which will result in them either giving me a decent angry fuck or ruining my whole life. So what it comes down to is, who would I be more embarrassed to be fucked and or killed by? Who would I literally not want to be caught dead with? And there is a certain grandeur, at least in the telling, in dying in the arms of the Fairy King. I cannot die because Bobby Newport pouted until I let him tie me up, and then he ran off to catch an ice cream truck. Can't do it.
Bobby Newport's also my number 13.
Nah.
Well, shit.
Yeah. I bet I could make him cry real easy. Just so easy.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a Dan Hibiki, isn't he?
Yeah. That stings because you did compare me to Dan Hibiki at one time. So
yeah, and I'm gonna have to live it down for the rest of my life, much like you're gonna have to live down being Dan Hibiki.
Ooh.
I think this man cries multiple times a day, exclusively over trivial shit. I don't think he's ever come because jerking off is too much like hard work. If I tried to jerk him off or give him a blowjob, I think he'd cry because his muscles were experiencing tension for the first time in his life. That's fascinating. Like, I can't look away. It's such bad sex. It is such bad, awful sex. But it was fascinating in the Parks and Rec episode where I perhaps unreasonably ranked him number 8. But it's still fascinating now. What a weird sea cucumber of a man.
Dan, who's your number 13?
So my number 13 is the counselor. You guys were really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel with your Firefly picks, weren't you?
God.
Okay, so the counselor is a politician who, like, basically all we know about her is that she appreciates sex enough that she's willing to block out a chunk of time and then find a skilled professional to take care of things for her. Like, so what we have on her is she values sex to some degree. Like, is she the platonic ideal of a median? I mean, we will see by the end of the episode, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good. You make a good case. Annie, you're number 14.
This is my last sort of like blah one before I start getting to the characters that I actually like. Some spark of joy or hatred existed. Something or an interest. Something happened there where I could actually like muster up some opinion about this. So this is my last one, and it is the counselor. And I say this sincerely, with all honesty, with all attempts to give this the old college try. Who? The most I had was a blurry screenshot. Like I was looking for Bigfoot. The infamously verbose Wikia writing was absent.
Yeah, damn. Let's see. Dan, you're number 14.
So my number 14 is Dragon from Shrek. I said in the Dragons episode that fucking a dragon is like listening to music with the volume all the way up, right? Like if it's good, it's great. If it's bad, it's absolutely horrible. I still think that that's true. And in fact, I think it only becomes clearer and more obvious when you are comparing a dragon to a bunch of non-dragons, which is what we're doing here. If you are into what Dragon wants to do, you're going to have a phenomenal time. Like, arguably as good or better than anyone else on this list. But if you're not, you're going to be actively wanting it to end. And the thing about this dragon is she doesn't take notes. Like, in D&D terms, it's a real roll of the old D20, but the faces are all 1 or 20. Like, this is very high stakes stuff.
My number 14 is King Kai. So with Bobby Newport out of the way, we're out of the boring dudes tier. We're between tiers here in a weird place with a weird guy. There would be some novelty value in fucking King Kai, I guess. I don't think he'd hurt me, but I find King Kai's voice so obnoxious and his body so unappealing and his whole deal so unbearable. I think my likeliest sexual encounter with him would be more annoying than my likeliest sexual encounter with anyone higher on the list. When I think about how pointless and irritating it would be to fuck Ben Gates or Oberon or Bobby Newport, it just cannot compete with how little I would get, aside from aggravation, out of engaging with the miserable jokes and the blue tuna can dick of this weird wide jerk.
I don't know, Goku. Who could find this irritating?
Oh.
Let's go chase Bubbles! Raining, Goku!
Let's see. MeganBob, you're number 14.
Soy phone. She was my number 12 in the Bleach episode. She'd slap me for being annoying, which is the wrong reason to slap me. Although, not that you shouldn't be annoyed with me. You definitely should be annoyed with me. But still. Although, is it the wrong reason to slap me? I'm already, look, maybe it's not the wrong reason to slap me. But she exclusively fucks while annoyed, unless you're Yoroichi. And I'm not Yoroichi. Maybe I can get her to give me like a disciplinary fuck. I think my odds of getting that are slim to none, but I still think her sneer makes it worth trying for.
Annie, you're number 15.
My 15 was Karn. Now, I don't play Magic, but my husband has been in hobby retail for like 15 years, so I turned around when I was writing my notes and was like, hey, do you have any feelings about this Karn guy? And his response was, oh, good old Karn. He's a sad robot. Urza made him. He's not a gun. So I'd like to thank my husband for giving me the exact pitch I needed to approach sex with a Magic the Gathering character. And then I thought about it, and I realized that even with that, I can't muster up much about this guy beyond robot emoji, crying emoji, eggplant emoji, thumbs up emoji. He's got like robo-pathos. I love that for him. He also seems kind of like he doesn't fuck at all. He likes friendship a lot, but like I looked and I could not figure out how this robot gets horny. And even if I pretend to be allosexual, I feel like we just end up playing like Wii Sports.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, you're number 15.
So my number 15 is Ben Gates. And this guy has like big, I once read a book about cunnilingus energy, except in the interim, he also read a book about uncovering ancient Egyptian tombs. So like, you have to gently remind him that no, your pleasure does not require a mallet and a chisel. I don't think that the sex is very good, but according to the Disney fandom wiki, one of his dislikes is, quote, having his family accused or kidnapped. So
I hate that.
I guess he and I have at least one thing in common. Like, thanks as always for that keen character insight, Disney fandom wiki.
My number 15 is Solus. Here begins the dull but dangerous tier for characters who do not fuck and cannot be trusted. Solus is a skinny little piece of shit whose odds of fucking me over are vastly higher than his odds of fucking me full stop. I don't need a fantasy version of this person. I have met sullen, snotty, bald guys who express doubt that the people around them are like real people. I've never fucked one of them before, and I don't see any reason to start with the actual god of betrayal. MeganBob, you're number 15.
This is something of a big feels, meh feels. I don't know.
Are there any big feels this episode? We will see.
There are longer feels.
Yeah, longer feels. This is a long feels. John Feeney. He was my number 12 for Our Flag Means Death. He's just a nice pirate. Pirates are sexy. Apparently, I don't want to fuck a nice pirate. Like, especially not a pirate who wants to be the pretty one in bed. Now, some galaxy brains are probably thinking, but Bob, why can't you both be the pretty one? Which fair, but I'm an NB and he's a drag queen. One of us has actually committed to the aesthetic of full-blown prettiness, and it wasn't me. While he was busy learning to do makeup, I studied, not the Blade, probably just like horny Lord of the Rings fan fiction. But the point is, I did not put my points into that. And as nice as he is, I think he's got enough attitude to make sure that he's the pretty one. And I'm going to end up being the butch one, which would be fun with someone I clicked with. But with pirate guy number 4, no thanks.
Annie, you're number 16.
My 16 was Saeed. So, I watched, one season of Lost, the first season of Lost when it was airing, and then none of the rest of it. So to prepare for this, I went to my worst enemy, the worst website on the internet, fandom.com, which told me, under the section labeled character analysis, quote, of all the survivors, Saeed is the one who committed the most crimes. And then the word crimes was a hyperlink that went to a page in the Lostpedia simply titled Crimes. So, crimes isn't a deal breaker. But I think if you're someone who's really good at torture, you're either going to be way too into certain aspects of that purview of kink that doesn't really apply to me personally, or you're going to be so averse to bringing that into the bedroom at all that you're just going to want to have the most vanilla sex that's ever existed. And while Saeed is hot as hell, I don't think we're going to be super compatible.
All right. Dan, you're number 16.
My 16 is Solus. I preface this by saying I haven't played Veilguard yet, but I did just complete a playthrough of Inquisition. Solus is a trickster, but he's not a fun trickster. He's secretly sad and tortured, but there's really nothing fun or appealing beneath that. He's just a bummer to be around, and he has no problem lying to you. Honestly, all that dream magic stuff that he has access to is wasted on him because he doesn't have the curiosity or the creativity or the fun personality that you'd need to make the most of it. He'd be like, let me take you on a wondrous journey into the Fade, where we will proceed to have no frills missionary for precisely 11 minutes. No, thank you. I do not need that.
My number 16 is Coriolanus. The dull but dangerous tier continues with Coriolanus, whom literary critic Harold Bloom characterizes as, quote, an overgrown child. And it's really that one quality that dooms him to fall this low on the list, because I think he's one of the safer fucks among the guys who might kill you if he loses his temper. And I think he's one of the more passionate among the boring guys who will maybe give you an intense fuck if you provoke them. But will that intense fuck be interesting? No. Unlike Solus, who is, if nothing else, a slick manipulator who could maybe trick me into having a good time, I don't think Coriolanus has an ounce of finesse or ability to see something from someone else's point of view at all. Even if his little baby tough guy feelings somehow led him to want to fuck me right, he simply does not know how.
More on that later.
MeganBob, you're number 16.
I'm going to be in trouble. Not for this, but just for everything. Dragon, the one from Shrek. I mean, she's horny, but something about it just seems boring. I know that's not normally what I'd say about a sex that might kill me. Not a sex. I know that's
No. Sex with a dragon is certainly asex.
It is asex.
Sex with dragon specifically. From Shrek.
But she really does seem like a boring fuck by a lot of metrics. And frankly, is she even horny or is she just lonely? And no judgment, we've all been jonesing for a hug before. I just don't think I can get something satisfying out of her, especially with a size difference that problematic. Now, if she was a shifter, it's just, I think she might rank much higher. I think. But she ain't. So here we are. Now, a really good question is, why the fuck did I rank her number 7 in the Dragons episode? What was I on?
If I recall, and it's been a minute since I listened to that episode, but I think your words were something along the lines of, she's so horny. She sees a donkey who won't shut the fuck up and says, gimme.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Honestly, we all got a little weird having to differentiate dragons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Annie, you're number 17.
My number 17 is Oberon. Can you imagine being the guy who's eternally married to hot green elf Kate Mulgrew and somehow you blow it so bad she just decides to fuck off and be a human for a while? Can you imagine how badly you have to fuck up to be that guy? Because Oberon is that guy. He will be so overbearing about your frail human form and how it is but the short breath of a fart from an endless asshole such as he, and you cannot possibly comprehend the majesty of the cock of the Lord of the Third Race, and no, you can't wear his cape. You'd barely be able to get to the sex before he started telling you how you're not as great as his wife, hot green elf Kate Mulgrew. And by the way, it's totally not even his fault that she left. For none can comprehend the ways of the endless Fae. He would do that the whole time you're fucking. He would not even break when he comes. Just an endless litany of how hot green elf Kate Mulgrew is such a bitch. And also, you don't even deserve his gossamer silk-spun semen in your infantile, frail, mortal body. Like, please just imagine an immortal elf with divorced man energy. That's the whole thing.
Oof. Dan, you're number 17.
My number 17 is also Oberon.
Yes!
My take is significantly less specific than yours, Annie. But I appreciate the rich tapestry you just wove for us. I'll keep mine short. Oberon's a lazy dom. He expects to have his every command obeyed, his every desire fulfilled, but either hasn't realized or doesn't care that you also have needs and urges that you would like to have satisfied too, please. Thank you. The dude has so many powers that would make for such good bedroom play, but one must first give a shit about one's partner in order for that to matter, and Oberon simply has no shits to give.
My number 17 is Soifon. Once again, we've got a neck-and-neck race. Here it is between my number 16, Coriolanus, and the character directly below him in the dull but dangerous tier, Soifon. Both of them are deadly but emotionally immature, stuck on their conception of integrity, probably have no idea how to give me a good time. The difference maker is that if Coriolanus is into me, I think that's going to bring out the best in him, for whatever that's worth. Soifon, on the other hand, is going to get clingy and erratic with someone she really cares about. So even that one avenue to having a better time is too risky. It's almost like the better the sex is, the worse trouble I'm in. So like a completely forgettable fuck is the best I can hope for. MeganBob, you're number 17.
The counselor. My number 19 from the Firefly episode. This is a no-go because I think that the kind of sex that Inara likes and the kind that I like form the world's slimmest Venn diagram. I am sorry, but I need more than candles and spa music to come.
Jesus, getting dismal. Annie, you're number 18.
We're back to back on whiny ass elves. It's soulless. Okay, so I played Veilguard. I'm not gonna lay out some things here. So you know, this man is still the worst. This won't surprise you. He's still the worst. This is the kind of guy who will make huge murals about how sad he is. about his sad sack life. He will decorate his house with paintings about how sad he is. And he's such a fucking arrogant punk sad sack who thinks he's the only man who's ever experienced pathos in the entire history of Thetis. He can also turn into, it seems like he can turn into a giant fangly monster with too many eyes, and I'm thinking about it now, but one of the basic appeals of a monster fuck is that the monster thinks they're too hideous to be loved, and then you prove that wrong by getting your back blown out by a monster and then you cuddle afterwards. And the monster has to think that you are a precious thing to be cherished and worshipped. That's some of the stock standard basics in there of the monster fuck. Solus would simply not do this, not even as a monster fuck. You'd finish fucking this immortal elf, wolf, god thing, and he'd still be telling you afterwards about how nobody understands the plight of the universe, and, oh, you're far too mortal to see the true depths of my loneliness, and, oh, I think tea tastes bad. So, even knowing what I know, fuck this guy, but don't fuck him. He's terrible. And he'd probably call you Mythal during sex and then not apologize for it.
Wow, the return of Kate Mulgrew to the chat. Interesting.
I hold her in high regard.
Absolutely.
Dan, you're number 18.
So my number 18 is my first big feels, and it's Soifan. So I haven't seen or read Bleach, so I might very well be talking entirely out of my ass here. At first, when I was reading about this character, I started thinking about like how her rigid, stubborn, combative attitude could be fun in bed. You know, like you challenge her abilities in the sack or whatever, and then she like throws herself into the fuck the way that she would a fight. But I don't actually think that that's how it would go. She's very upfront and honest about fighting. You know, she doesn't back down from a fight. She openly challenges other people to fight, you know, shonen stuff. But she's extremely secretive when it comes to her crush on Yoruichi. Like, she takes secret pictures of her. She obsesses over her. All of that is done with a kind of like trembling timidity that betrays her shame over her own feelings. Like, she doesn't think of sex or attraction the same way that she does fighting. She's comfortable fighting. She's terrified of sex. Like, if she's into you, she's gonna turn into a deer in headlights once you start reciprocating. And while the idea of attempting to break through that and to get her to relax and enjoy herself is not without its appeal, I don't grade on appeal. I grade on how good the sex is. And the sex, at least at first, is going to be very awkward and honestly a little bit weird.
My number 18 is Karn. New tier, balloons, confetti, etc. All by himself in the literally unfuckable tier is Karn at number 18. I don't know much about Magic the Gathering. Dan was very helpful in giving some insight into like what Karn is capable of, and the answer is not fucking much. Like nothing. Okay, so it seems like he can feel. Like he could feel, like if his hand is on a fire, he would feel that was fire and that would feel bad. That seems to be the extent of Karn's erotic capacity. As far as I can, like, I'm not aware of him like liking anything like in a sensual way. He's not mechanical, it seems. Like he's a golem. So this isn't like an Inspector Gadget situation where like he's going to have something in there that'll do the trick. Like whatever you're into. I feel like Karn is just silver. Right. And like he has abilities, but like I'm thinking about what I can do for him, because that's like, I don't know. This made me philosophical. I was like, could I fuck a chair, like an actual, or like a piece of jewelry? You can't. I mean, I could have sex around it, but I can't. Does that count? Do you know what I mean? Like, can I? Because there are a lot of fairly fuckable people and unfuckable people on this list, and can I compare them to like what if you had me like fuck a paperclip? That's not the same thing. That's not sex. So in the literally unfuckable tier is Karn. He seems like a great guy. Wish him the best. Seems unlikely to come through that way based on his past history, but like good luck, Karn. But yeah, with no relevant anatomy, no apparent urges, no sexuality I can discern, I don't think I can fuck a block of metal, no matter how much moral fiber it has. That's where we're at. MeganBob, you're number 18.
Ooh, I'm gonna get shit for this. She-Ra.
Wow. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think she has a sexual perspective of any kind.
No.
Certainly not in the 80s. And the reboot is a little too high school, college age for me to feel entirely comfortable about it. She would fuck you like she's going into battle, I guess. Sort of like real big commitment. Maybe some cool, I don't know. I feel like what I would get out of her would be like, okay, so I'm going to like come at you sort of swinging. And I'm like, whoa, that's not what we're doing here. I mean, I do think there is some upside in that I think she is less likely to give me a moral or a safety lesson at the end of each fuck, which her brother for goddamn sure would. So there is that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Annie, you're number 19.
My number 19 is Coriolanus. Imagine having sex with a man who gets really mad about you complimenting his technique. It's like he gets so mad. And then if you offer some mild critique, like, hey, I like it when my partners do this, it really gets me off, he gets even madder at you for having feedback. And then you're like, actually, this isn't working out. He then tells you that you're not working out. He's breaking up with you. And then he unionizes your other previous Tinder matches and tries to burn down your house before he gets arrested because even the cops think this guy is a dick. What I'm saying is you are going to regret swiping right on Coriolanus.
Yeah.
All right. Dan, you're number 19.
My number 19 is also Coriolanus. Coriolanus is like if Macbeth had less self-control, was a giant man baby, and if Lady Macbeth was his mom instead of his wife. Like, woof. I just cannot respect this guy. I'm sorry. I ranked him low in the Shakespeare episode. I really tried to look at him from a different angle this time around, but I can't place him highly. Like, he's passionate and fiery, I'll give him that, but you can get passion and fire from a lot of characters. Like, at some point you gotta follow through with your bold boasts and declarations, and I just don't think he has it in him.
My number 19 is Dragon, the one from Shrek. My lowest tier, actual monsters, begins here with a dragon who's pretty much just a dragon, only in lipstick, because she's a girl dragon. Don't really see any personality here other than like a tiny bit of stereotypical femininity layered on top of your basic tower-dwelling, fire-breathing dragon. I assume if she's into me, then she won't kill me, at least on purpose. So, I guess, like, best case scenario, nobody gets attached. I get to put my dick in a big giant lizard and nobody cares about it. As with Soifan, the more she likes me, the more danger I'm in, because she seems to have very little compunction about hurting people or forcing herself on whoever she wants. So yeah, I guess like hopefully we both want to try human on dragon sex exactly one time, and we do, and that's the end of it. It's a like very clean mutual breakup. Yeah, on on balance. I do not want to have a sex from Shrek with the dragon from Shrek. MeganBob, you're number 19.
Kate Pride.
What? Are you going to finish or you just want to leave?
I mean, at this point, I probably should leave. I mean, it's my house, but at the same time, Kate Pride, I don't want to be baby's first anything, and I feel like she is baby's first everything. There are a handful of characters out there that bring out the inner Kit in me where I can confidently say, I'm going to teach him. This is not one of those times. That's why I ranked her number 16. And, yep, sorry. Sorry, Kitty.
All right. Annie, you're number 20.
My number 20 is Dragon, parentheses, Shrek. I still don't want to go spelunking in this particular dragon pussy. I've seen what happens when you do this. I've seen Shrek 2. I've seen those things. No, never. Not even once. No.
Dan, you're number 20.
My number 20 is the devil. In the Major Arcana episode, I ranked the devil very high. Because I said it was the kind of sex that was so good that you allowed your life to get worse in order to accommodate it. This time around, with this new perspective I'm looking at it from, I'm going to say that the devil represents the promise of sex that is so enticing, so potentially life-changing, that you abandon the most stable and important parts of your life in pursuit of it. Well, Bad news, the sex is life-changing, but in the worst way possible. Like, it turns out that the devil is much better at temptation than follow-through. And after you surrender to your lust, all you'll have to show for it are the pieces of your life you had before and the fading memory of a pretty bog-standard orgasm.
Ooh. Jesus. I, for one, am outraged at this unprecedented inconsistency in interpreting tarot cards. My number 20 is Peter. As the middle of the actual monsters tier, we have Peter. He has no discernible desires except murder. Seems very unlikely to do any kind of communicating, have any kind of empathy, any regard for or understanding of me as a person. He might, he might not fuck me. He might not realize or like understand that he fucked me. I guess if he has some kind of sex urge that goes with his thirst for blood, then maybe the violent murder sex with him would be a better way to go than my number 21. That's all he has going for him. MeganBob, you're number 20.
Also Peter. I'm going to end up starting shit with him because he doesn't talk. Are you mad at me? I don't care if you're planning to kill me. I need to know if you're mad at me, you motherfucker. Why are you doing this to me? And if he wasn't going to kill me before, he'll definitely be ready to kill me after that. Mm-hmm. Dan made a really compelling case for fucking this guy. And God, I really want there to be an animalistic fuck in there somewhere. But I am afraid that it might just be uncomprehending staring. And if that's what I get, I mean, I could come under those circumstances, but I'd really prefer not to. I ranked him number 7 in What We Do in the Shadows because I do want to make him come just by playing with his ears, but he better at least make a weird croaking sound or I am out of there.
All right, here we are, number 21, which fortunately I didn't pre-write something about how these were all going to be middling, so what's the point of a number 21? Because goddamn. This list surprised me. Annie, you're number 21.
It was Guile?
Oh, wow.
Look, the more the time passes, the greater the chances that this character will get into, like, far-right QAnon bullshit, and I don't really need to fuck a Facebook profile.
Yeah. Dan, you're number 21.
Big feels. The Dark Watchers.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You're out wandering the woods near Monterey when you suddenly see a shape in the fog. You've heard of this phenomenon where people see figures in the distance who disappear if approached. So you decide to test this out and you get closer. To your astonishment, the figure doesn't go anywhere as you close in. He looks at you with his round, silvery eyes, glinting like coins in the darkness of his face. I thought you were supposed to disappear when I approach, you say. I usually do, he responds, but something about you is different. I think I'm into you. The two of you go back to your rented house and proceed to have extremely weird and awkward sex. Neither of you fully understand what's going on, and neither of you come even close to finishing. Eventually, he asks if you can just jerk off while he watches from the shower. That goes a lot better for both of you.
Interesting. Okay. So my number 21 is Sarvok, right? I mean, do I have the wrong guy? He's the Lord of Murder, right?
His dad is the Lord of Murder.
He's trying to be the Lord of Murder.
He's an aspirational Lord of Murder, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give him too much credit. No unearned valor on this podcast.
That's right.
So, and he's into me. Great. Fantastic. I looked up his track record, checked his references. He left one lover because she didn't approve of him trying to attain godhood as the Lord of Murder. Someone he did love, I believe, canonically. So then he took another more ruthless lover with whom he had a child. Then he had a child with that child. So sometimes he's into you doesn't mean a lot. I haven't listened to the Baldur's Gate episode, but I have big questions about 10 people on that list. MeganBob, you're number 21.
Ben Gates. Because I rank things very differently than you do, baby, I guess. I'm like, a boring man. Oh, God. I bet he fucks like he just remembered that he left the sink running. Also, there's a non-zero chance that he's jerked off about the Federalist Papers.
Oh, no.
I just don't need that kind of energy in my life. I ranked Ben Gates as my nadir at number 15. You might be wondering, Bob, he's a Nick Cage. Why such a low ranking? You love weirdos. I do. But this weirdo looks like he showers and doesn't live on truck stop corn dogs. He looks like he takes a multivitamin and does the crossword before bed. No.
All right. Well, that does it. We did it. That felt really bad at the end. I don't know. I'm proud of us. But this can't last forever. This buzz that we're on of negativity, it's right back to the fucking middle. Let's go to 10 and then let's take it all the way to the top. MeganBob, you're number 10.
Sarvok. I ranked him my median. He seems easy to annoy in a way that will ultimately be fun for my pussy, I say, before I realize that I did not look. I have never played the game. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have read more of the wiki. I mean, he's no Dr. Doom, but look, few are. I mean, I guess technically all the Doom bots are by some metric, but still, the point is, Sarvok will rise to the bait and probably chase me through the halls after I tell him that I'm still not satisfied. Now, I do run like a koala in molasses. So I need to get a real head start to make this chase fun. But I am not above buying Heelys for sex reasons.
My number 10 is Guile. Guile falls on the upper half of my boring guys tier. I don't think I would like Guile, but I also don't think he would treat me badly. I think he would deliver on the brand of hyper-masculine, muscular, athletic fuck that he promises. That's not my favorite, but I think I would get a decent version of it. But I also think you lose a lot of value with him if you can't give him some of the like traditional femmy energy that he's going to click with, that's not me. So ultimately, he is a deluxe boring dude, but a boring dude nonetheless. Dan, you're number 10.
My number 10 is Bobby Newport. Bobby Newport not only can't find the clit, he can't find the vulva. Under no circumstances should this man be in charge during sex. But if you're fine with taking over, you will find a partner who responds to literally anything you do with the same breathless delight of a baby playing peekaboo for the first time. Is this a creepy thing to say about a potential sex partner? I mean, sometimes the truth is difficult to hear, but it doesn't mean that it's less true.
Yeah, dead on. Annie, you're number 10.
My number 10 was Ben Gates. I mean, I could fuck this man, but let's be real. I'd be thinking about Harrison Ford the entire time, and both of us would know it. I mean, hell, let's be real. Both of us are thinking about Harrison Ford the entire time. And he's ranking this high on my list because it took me a while to get to the unmitigated yeses. And this isn't an unmitigated yes, but sex while we're both thinking about Harrison Ford isn't necessarily a no.
Mm-hmm. All right. MeganBob, you're number 9.
Solus. Evil Elf Man. You know what? I stand by ranking him number 4, which is what I ranked him in the original episode that we did. He's a nutcase with a master plan, and I want fucking me until I scream to be steps 1 through 69 of that master plan. No, you don't get it, because it's not about him, like whatever him. It's about the fact that he has machinations. I want to be important to machinations. I want to be machinated. That I I want to be the key to a master plan. Yeah. Wouldn't that feel good? I mean, maybe if it wasn't to like destroy everything you loved and cared about, but still.
My number 9 is the Dark Watchers. This is at the very top of the boring dude tier. The Dark Watchers are the purest expression of boring dudes. They are anonymous beings with no discernible sexual nature of their own who express themselves only by kind of staring creepily at whatever it is you're doing. It says something about my overall interest in dudes and their dudeliness that I ranked Guile, who is a paragon dude, below the Dark Watchers, who are almost abstract in their blankness. It's just that the concept of being watched and desired by a bunch of dudes is much hotter than being watched and desired by any specific dude. It allows you to engage the fantasy without getting bogged down in the unappealing specifics of the people doing the watching. You know, Dan, you kind of ultimately settled on like jerking off in front of the watchers, which I think is the way to go. Like, I never considered anything else. I'm not trying to get them outside their comfort zone. But like, if I imagine jerking off in front of Guile and jerking off in front of the Dark Watchers, those are similar experiences, but like, I know things about Guile. That kind of ruins it. Just to check in, we're now in the upper half of this list, drawing very close to the top third. And we are talking about characters who have no personality and do nothing. So that just as a barometer of like how strong the list is.
Yep.
Dan, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Yvette. I'm envisioning here a scenario where she has the night off and you two have the Clue Mansion all to yourself. So the two of you take it upon yourselves to make each other come using random combinations of rooms and items. Can you make Yvette come in the conservatory with the candlestick? Can she make you come in the library with the rope? I'll admit, a wrench doesn't immediately strike me as the ideal sex toy, but if it's with Yvette in the billiard room, maybe we can make something happen there, you know?
All right, Annie, you're number 9.
My number 9 was also Yvette, but I still haven't seen Clue. I know. Whenever it's on TV, I only ever catch the endings. I have no context for the rest of it. I don't know. The sex is probably fine. She's got a lot of experience and she's got a great rack and she knows how to role play. So like, all right, sure. We are still in my because that's what this episode is.
MeganBob, you're number 8.
Guile. I don't like patriot guys because many of them are nationalists. I don't like ripped guys because they're boring to touch. I don't think Guile is good at fucking, but I think he can follow orders, and I would like to peg that virgin ass, soldier! Bending him over and fucking that little ass while he hums America the Beautiful. That does something for me. I don't know what it does for me, but definitely like something. In the Street Fighter episode, I ranked him number 10, and I said I was going to cure him of toxic masculinity. I didn't say how, but I guess I'm showing my hand now. It's butt stuff.
My number 8 is the Devil. The Devil stands alone on my list outside of any tier. Shockingly, nobody else on this list fucks like a tarot card. As in the tarot episode, for consistency, I'm taking the average of the positive and negative versions of the Devil card. It was my median in tarot because like dark, obsessive, aggressive desires are very appealing to me, assuming that they're channeled into what ultimately turns out to be good sex. But I also see how badly that can go, and the Devil represents both sides of that. The positive version of the Devil would easily be number 1 on this list. But unlike in the tarot episode, weirdly, the negative version of the Devil still would not be at the bottom of this list, where we have some fatal fucks who would be worse ways to go. So the Devil's a weird fit for this list because the sex it represents is never going to be average, but, you know, this is what we get for fucking tarot cards. Like, I don't know. Like, we made this decision a long time ago. We're living with the consequences. Dan, you're number 8.
So my number 8 is Karn. Most of you touched on this when you talked about Karn. Like, he doesn't have much in the way of a libido. But I do think that, like, there's a good time that you can have with him. You just have to frame it in terms of, like, a puzzle that he needs to solve. You know, you need to appeal to his curiosity and his intellect. You know, hey, Karn, you're able to create and alter machinery just by touching it. Like, let's see if you can create the ideal sex toy, and then we'll test it out, right? Like it might take a few rounds of iteration and experimentation before you settle on the final model, but you're going to have a very good time along the way.
Yeah.
That's compelling.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Annie, you're number 8.
It's She-Ra, she's kind of a mixed bag. The problem is that, like, she's got a sword that can turn into a bunch of different tools, and I can see that being fun in the bedroom, and I love that for her. In the reboot, she's a dumb jock lesbian, and I love that for her. But the 80s incarnation is so bland that I don't think she'd have the imagination to use anything she's got in any way that isn't the missionary position, and then she'd make puns about it that only sometimes work out. So, I don't know. And then after sex, Looker would 100% show up and demand to know if I saw where he was hiding while we were busy. And then he'd laugh and say he'd see me next time. And that is not a promise. That is a threat. That will happen anytime I have sex with She-Ra, and I don't know if it's worth it.
That sounds like so much fun. I really, really want to do that.
Like, middle of sex, just looking around, where the fuck are those rainbow socks? Is he in the laundry?
Yeah.
Is he in the closet? Is he behind the door? It's like when you've got a cat that wants to, like, hang out with you while you're trying to have sex, except worse because he giggles.
Oh, man.
I'm not saying no. That is not
That's really good.
entirely unappealing.
If She-Ra would be a bro about it, which I think she might be. I think you could be in it together.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, I think I see him. And then, like, I long for, like, the pop of, like the dick coming out of her mouth. And she's like, oh, where? Like, this is a project we're doing together.
Looker, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it would just take me out of it.
All right, MeganBob, you're number 7.
King Kai. I have been captured laughing at my own joke on multiple podcast recordings. And I, for one, think it's very hot that I know I'm funny. I think it's delightful that he's so fucking into himself that he likes his own bad jokes too. Crucially, this lives and dies on whether or not he is aware that his jokes are bad. If he doesn't think they're bad, then I'm going to have a low opinion of him. Not that I can't fuck someone I don't think especially well of, but I'd rather be, like, in on the joke with someone. It seems like he kinda does know, and he's got the weirdest training methods imaginable, like demanding that you catch his pet monkey. So this seems like a guy with imagination who is here, like, just doing random shit just to make him happy, just to give King Kai a good day. And that's great. Like, I ranked him number 13 in the Dragon Ball episode, which isn't too shabby considering Annie and Co. talked me into doing an episode with 23 characters for that one. The chafing, people. The chafing.
There's a lot of people in Dragon Ball.
Apparently.
Just, it'd be a shame to lose all, like, the rich characterization. So, my number 7, Wee John Feeney. Wee John Feeney is at the bottom of a new tier on my list, the perfectly nice time tier. I think I would have a perfectly nice time with Wee John Feeney. But the tragedy with him, and I want to be clear, it's my tragedy, not his. Like, he's going to be fine. The tragedy with him is that he is so nearly my type. He's just a little too fey, or maybe the wrong shade of fey. Like, he knits. If he chopped vegetables in an apron, like Captain Pike on Star Trek, that would be my thing. He's got a theatrical side, but he's, like, a little too gruff. If he were fancy camp, like Buddy Cole, that's my thing. I don't know why he doesn't quite do it for me, but he's close enough and a cool enough, sexual enough guy that I think I would have fun. And I'm not going to try to change him or anything, but, like, maybe he's just never heard of chopping vegetables. There's no harm in mentioning it. Dan, you're number 7.
Big feels. Saeed. I'm not a fan of Lost. I believe I've watched precisely one episode of that show in my life. And we are also recording this before the lost episode of Hard Choices has been released. Yes. So a lot of this is based on speculation and what I was able to dig up online. But Sayid is, to some degree at least, a man of faith. And it is a faith that forbids premarital sex. However, Sayid is also a man with deep passions, even if those passions are usually suppressed or controlled. And sometimes those passions means that he goes against the strict dictates of his faith. The worst sex that you could have with him would be as his spouse. But even that sex, I think, would be fine to pretty good. Like, he's empathetic and skilled enough that I think he'd show you a good time. But the real juicy stuff is when you're not his spouse and you're in a tough situation together, tensions run high, and he decides to make some bad decisions with you. Like, you still get the empathy, you still get the skill, but it's combined with a wild hunger. A sense that, yes, you are indeed committing a sin, so you'd better make it count.
Annie, you're number 7.
My number 7 is Silver Sable. I remember learning a lot about Silver Sable from Dan when we did the Spider-Man episode, but it completely fell out of my brain again. And the biggest impression I have of her is still the Spider-Man game. Which means that I can't fuck Silver Sable without going through 4 boss fights and 6 QuickTime events with a helicopter and doing like 10 different monotonous city encounters with a bunch of Sable thugs. And sure, after that, I get permission to enter her bedroom. By then, my hands are cramping from the PlayStation controller, so I just don't know how well I'm going to be able to massage her tits or play with her pussy. But, I mean, hey, my mouth's fun, though. Mm-hmm. I can make it work.
MeganBob, you're number 6.
Silver Sable. In the original episode, I ranked her number 10. And the Spider-Man episode had a lot of flavorful fucks to offer, so that's not too bad. But, like, she's just not here for drama, and that is lovely. She fucks you because she wants to come, and she likes you enough to come with you. I don't even know if she takes all her clothes off to fuck, which is a hot kind of fuck. Furthermore, I don't think she's going to take it personally if I ask for the number of one of her mooks. In fact, I suspect that she is the kind of person who would give me like a private little hard choices of all the mooks she's fucked. So that way I can really know my options. And she's like, it's like ordering DoorDash at that point. She's like, oh, whose number do you want? Like, this is what this guy did. This is this guy. What is not to love? I mean, I don't think it's going to be the best sex of my life, but this is Medians and she's not a Muppet. So, I feel like a fuck buddy fuck is not too bad for number 6.
Yeah.
I will say, Bob, she has had some weirdos on her payroll. I think you would have a rich buffet in front of you.
My number 6 is Sayid. Sayid's presence in my perfectly nice time tier is proof that, contrary to my rankings of Karn and Coriolanus and Solus and Soifon, I can get into somebody who has a lot of baggage. The question is how that's going to affect the sex. And in this case, I don't think it's going to come into play. He has deeper depths, but in the context of like a casual connection, he's just going to be charming and hot and polite. That's fine. That's great. It's perfectly nice. Now, if he falls in love with me, that's a little different based on his track record. That's nothing he did, though. That's writers being writers. Assuming, and this is very important, that fucking Sayid and potentially having him fall in love with me does not put me within the jurisdiction of the Lost Writers Room, then I think I'm going to have a really good time. Dan, you're number 6.
My number 6 is King Kai. I'm nowhere near a diehard Dragon Ball fan, but this dude does give off some like hedonist energy. At the very least, he enjoys having a good time. And he's been alive long enough that he's probably indulged in all sorts of pleasures on many occasions. He is a bit too selfish and immature to be a top 5 pick. But like, if I have to spend the night with a pleasure-seeking telepath, I think it's gonna be a good night.
All right. Annie, you're number 6.
Mine's Suifon, which... Okay, I'm going to actually pivot here because I had something written here and I'm going to depart from it because I was struck while we've been talking about this. Like, okay, so she's a tightly wound stoic. She seems like she's got it together. She will also do anything for pussy. And by that I mean pussies with pussies. Because do you get it like pussy like a cat, and then Yoruichi is it's
God!
Wait, Annie, you're positing the existence of one word describing more than one thing. This is
I know.
unheard of.
Just stay with me here. Here's the thing. Like, if she is someone who acts like a power top until the sex actually happens and she's the bottomest bottom at ever bottom, I think what you do there is you're not necessarily going to be working with someone who is a meek, mild, just extremely submissive in the bedroom. You want to work on this because this woman has an untapped potential to be the scariest yandere you've ever seen. You want this woman to be so obsessed with you that she will kill anyone who looks at you because she's the only girl for you. And that's dangerous. And I think she's right on the cusp of that, and I could push her over.
Yeah, we got to talk about this and let's unpack that.
Yeah.
This is off the top of my head. So this is incubating here.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
MeganBob, you're number 5.
Yvette. I wasn't on this episode, and I don't have a clear sense of where I would have ranked her. But I've got a lot of time for people who are sex workers. Number 1, good for her. Number 2, there's something kind of seedy about fucking the maid in a disused room. And then, like, watching her tug her dress back down over her ass. I mean, I'd rather be the maid in that situation. But look, if I can't be the maid, I at least want to be involved. Honestly, it wouldn't do nothing for me if she just jerked me off while rolling her eyes. Which is a thing I didn't know about myself until just now. See, this is why Hard Choices needs a Peabody Award.
All right. My number 5 is Silver Sable, standing in an Escher girl pose in the middle of my perfectly nice time tier. Silver Sable is conventionally hot. And that's basically it. Nothing about her personality or background really stands out to me as attractive. She seems to know how to handle people. So assuming that she's into me, I assume she'd be pleasant to be around. If this were about a relationship and not sex per se, she'd rank below Saeed. But I think, with no offense to the character, like, for me, I think being naked on top of me is like Silver Sable's best side. Not true of Saeed. I think Saeed is a more interesting and engaging person than is probably going to come out in a hookup. But, like, yeah, for these purposes, yeah, she's a perfectly nice time. Still only marginally better than just jerking off to a Marvel swimsuit special. But that is pretty good. So, Dan, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Kate Pride. She is the exact right combination of horny and poor impulse control that I think makes for a really good time. You could have really good, like, mischief prank sex with her. You know, just like running through the walls of the X Mansion. You like sneak onto the Blackbird. You like fuck on Cyclops' bed, you know? Like, she's smart, she's passionate, she's funny, she's like kind of dorky, and she takes these big swings. Like, what is not to love?
Oh, that's the prank sex yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right, Annie, you're number 5.
It's also Kate Pride.
All right.
Listen. She's from the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest. She likes dragons. I like dragons. She likes girls with swords. I like girls with swords. She's bisexual. I'm bisexual. Now, okay, so like, cards on the table. Both of us are into women, but have more practical experience with men. So honestly, I think the sex will be messy and kind of middling, but the odds are good that we would have enough chemistry to make it fun, messy, and kind of middling sex. We're going to figure it out as we go, and afterwards we can both look at Rachel Summers and heave big, yearning sighs. Also, maybe Rachel can come for the next round. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Call me. Rachel, hi.
When you're in the X-Men, you know a lot of people. That's something I didn't really consider, but that is a benefit.
Yeah. It really opens the door for a lot of, future endeavors.
I see what you did there.
Future endeavors.
It's the name of the next crossover.
That's right. Future endeavors.
It's the Nest experience to survive.
All right, MeganBob, you're number 4.
Dark Watchers. In the Cryptids episode, I ranked the Dark Watchers number 3 and joked that because I can get off on being watched, Dark Watcher Hour would feature on my inevitable OnlyFans page. Well, there is one OnlyFans subscriber who knows that I'm good for being watched when I can't see who's watching me. Thanks for a good time, bud. For the people at home, I'm doing finger guns.
Yeah, true. Can confirm.
My number 4 is the counselor.
Oh, wow.
She's tough to rate because, like, we don't know very much about her, but she landed in my perfectly nice time tier because I trust Inara's judgment. Inara is a companion, which means she has sex as part of her job. She does it from a position of power and respect. She can and does choose her clients. And she says that when she chooses a female client, it's because there's something special about them. They're somehow exceptional. If only we had seen it on screen. But like I have to trust the text, even when it's hearsay. Originally, I placed her even higher on the list on the basis of that. But then I rewatched the episode, and it seems like maybe what makes the counselor special is that she mostly wants to have like a sexy but chill hangout with Inara. And I can see where, like, if your job is to have like premium content sex with powerful men, somebody who basically just like wants to take a sexy break with you and like, hang out, I can see where that would be fun for Inara. But nonetheless, Inara knows sex. She handpicked the counselor. I feel like that's good for something. It's a weak field, is what I'm ultimately saying.
You just said more than the entirety of her like Firefly Wikia page.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Peter. He's a Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
And if the new movie, which I have seen, is any indication, that means you're going to get a lover who is possessive, powerful, and relentless. And that is a terrible situation to be in for anyone except for someone who is into him, which we contractually are here on this show. And that is a good thing too, because being into someone who is obsessed with you in turn can be a very good time indeed. Although with Peter, you don't get the mustache or the weird gravelly voice with the aggressively rolled R's. And, more's the pity there.
I gotta go see this fucking movie.
It's a wild ride, my friend.
Annie, you're number 4.
My 4 is King Kai. Look, I still stand by my assertion that King Kai is just a really fun fuck who will make you a sandwich afterwards. Like, this is a guy who makes you laugh. He doesn't have any ego about it. He's just here to have a good time at his house with, like, a ridiculous amount of gravity. Afterwards, you hang out and you watch wrestling.
Ooh.
I mean, the only real problem here is that sometimes he's in the middle of going down on you, and then he freezes, and then he starts yelling into your crotch because Goku just popped into his head to yell about fighting tournaments.
Goku really is on that tier of like, do not fuck and also don't fuck anybody who knows him. It's just
he's got to make it your problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite of what we were just saying about the X-Men.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
You don't want to get too close to that world, even, like several degrees removed.
No, that's the other thing about fucking King Kai. There is definitely a chance, not a big chance, but there is a chance that you were over there to fuck King Kai while Chaozu is there, and he will stand in the corner of the room and stare at you.
Yeah, buddy. Ugh.
It's the problem with fucking Tien all over again.
All right. MeganBob, you're number 3.
Coriolanus. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. We all knew.
Yeah, we listened to that episode. We know.
Bob.
I know. No, I don't think he especially cares what I think or want. But if I can enter into the exact same headspace with him, like I can use his body in the way I want to use it, he can use mine. And when we lock eyes, it's a shared look of perfect understanding. We're going to take what we want, not going to stop until we're satisfied. Great. And like, even if I surrender, even if I'm not fighting him back, what's he going to do? Fuck me less hard? Oh no. Like, I win no matter what, which is one of my absolute favorite kinds of winning. And for the record, I ranked him number 5 in the Shakespeare episode, although not my most problematic ranking on that episode.
Not even close.
Nope, not even close.
By the way, I don't know if I've ever said this, but Dan, you were fucking phenomenal in that episode. I don't know if I ever like contacted you about it, but I plan to, and I was editing it. That was like your best anything ever. I loved you in that episode.
Thank you, Kris. I really appreciate you saying that.
My number 3 is She-Ra. She-Ra just edges out Silver Sable and the Counselor for the top spot in my perfectly nice time tier. Only because she's nicer, less likely to be snobby, has some superpowers that might be a fun novelty. Other than that, it's really the same story. It is a very hot woman with a personality that I can take or leave, and she's not going to kill me. Hopefully, she'll take me to Etheria so I can meet her flying horse and everything. But even if she does, it won't move her up the list. There is a firm ceiling between this tier and the tier of characters I'm actually interested in, and it is higher above She-Ra than she can fly on any horse, however winged. I think we're on to Dan, you're number 3.
Yeah, and my number 3 is also She-Ra. I've never had the opportunity to evaluate the fuckability of He-Man before, but I can tell you right now that his twin sister would be ranked much higher than he would be. And I think the difference is, like, you can chalk that up to her being raised as a supervillain. Like, you know, she's a good guy now, but she retains just enough of her old attitude and edge to be, I think, a pretty delectable lay. Like, she's witty, she's empathetic, she's generous, and she can absolutely pound you through the bed when she rides you. Plus, and Annie, you're going to have to forgive me while I steal your bit for just a sec.
Okay.
Sex on a flying horse! Sex on a flying horse! Sex on a flying horse! And I don't care what his voice sounds like. It's sex on a flying horse.
All right, Annie, you're number 3.
Oh, give me a sec to recover from that one. Okay. All right, so we learned a few things about Sarevok earlier in this episode, but let's all ignore that politely for right now. Thank you.
You know what? I'm as a person who makes a lot of mistakes, you're in safe hands with me.
Because folks, this is an edgelord. This is an edgelord. This is an edgelord that I can change.
Ooh.
Canonically.
I can change him and he will still be an edgy, grumpy bitch, even if he chooses to be a better person. Oh my God. And he wears the stupidest helmet I've ever seen. Oh God. Stop. My clothes are already off. I'm going to be the biggest brat to this grumpy shithead. I'm going to demand that he keeps the helmet on, and I'm gonna keep snickering at how stupid it is until he bends me over a table and fucks me until I can't laugh anymore. And then afterwards, he's gonna grumpily cuddle me and pretend like he's not. Holy shit.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Ugh. This is just a terrible helmet. If he moves slightly wrong while wearing the helmet, he will cut his face. It's so dumb. Bless.
MeganBob, you're number 2.
Saeed! The soulful eyes of someone who has done unspeakable things and has, you can only pray, mixed feelings about it. Kris once said about the Ninth Doctor, in my Bonerversary, I believe, that maybe it wasn't cool to just rub up against someone's trauma and come a couple of times. Which it's not. But it is sexy! And I don't know if this alters the calculus, but I don't think he's trying to fuck away his demons. I think his demons are fully in the room with us and jerking off the whole time. Which does add a certain je ne sais quoi. I ranked him number 3 on the Lost episode for reference.
My number 2 is Kate Pryde. My one and only Big Feels. Kate Pryde begins my characters I'm actually into tier. Maybe I come across as a little bit picky, starting that tier at number 2, but I don't think I'm that demanding. I thought about this. I did some math about this. Kate Pryde is kind, smart, cute, and fun. And that's all. Like that's all it takes. There's a million things you could say about her. She's been in the X-Men. Like her history goes on forever and endlessly into the future. But at this point, I have rated 19 other characters on this cursed list, and there is not one other character who is just kind, smart, cute, and fun. Like, Saeed might qualify, but I have trouble applying the word kind to anybody who's been employed as a torturer. So, like, barring that, in fact, in the spirit of this episode, which is all about, like, statistics, suppose we award 1 point for each of these things. How many points on average would the bottom 19 characters on this list earn? 1.2.
Oh, wow.
Kate Pryde is a comic book character, a Marvel mutant. I could go on forever. There are a million things to say, but there's no need. She is kind, smart, cute, and fun. And on this list, that's like, it's a shock that she's not number one. It's this number 2 is dedicated to the 19 other motherfuckers on this list who could not pass this simple test. Fuck all these guys. Dan, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Saravak. You fools. You cowards. You absolute plebeians. I'm sorry, but anyone who is killed and then later, quote, scratches and claws his way back to the world of the living is fuckable. They just are. I don't make the rules, but I do fuck very determined revenants.
This is amazing.
All right, Annie, you're number 2.
Hi, it's the devil. Mm-hmm. Oh no! Don't throw me in the briar patch. Don't entrance me to give in to my hedonistic lusts and turn me into a loosely chained sex slave at the throne of a giant monster. Oh no! I've never read any smut about this exact kind of thing. Oh no!
Ugh. There is a lot of devil romances out there.
I don't doubt it.
I would cast you as the devil, Annie.
Interesting thing to just throw out there. Interesting.
MeganBob, you're number 1.
Oberon! I ranked him number fucking 1 in the Gargoyles episode.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Kris, do you want to say it too? Are you too disappointed?
No, look, I mean, it's fine. Please go ahead. I gotta pace myself. We're in a relationship.
He still wants to fuck his ex-wife. Which is like one of the hottest things about him. Like he never gets over shit. He fucks you like he's gonna hold a grudge against you for the rest of his life. Not your life, his life. And he got a long life. Come on. That's so hot. Not every fuck on here offers, well, any qualities really, but the qualities necessary to never move on. But this Faye does. The downside for me is that he's never going to get down in the dirt with you and like fuck you for reals. He's always going to be holding something back because he has to be on top in every sense of the word, which for me is like saying, hey, Bob, there's donuts in the house, but you're not allowed to have any. And fuck you right in your donut cop face. I want him to give me all the dick donuts. He's just not that guy. Mm-hmm. But goddamn, like the hyper focus and obsessiveness about his former bae, that is some S tier shit. Ugh. He was right to never get over Kate Mulgrew, like as any of us would be, but I want him to feel that way about me and I want to just fuck off. Ugh.
This motherfucker drafting behind the tiny body of Kate Mulgrew. He does not deserve his spot on this list.
Giant Thor ass cape.
My number one, of course, is Yvette. Yvette powerfully, decisively tops my characters I'm actually into tier, much as I would top her. I won't rehash my rankings from the Clue episode, where she was also my number one, but suffice it to say, she looks like she wants to get caught. I want to catch her. On this entire godforsaken list, there is exactly one character who probably wants to have the kind of sex I want to have, and it's Yvette. I think I would have better personal chemistry with Kate Pride. We'd probably be more into each other as people, but given the premise of the show that Yvette and I are attracted to each other, the only question is what the sex would be like. Yvette would win with both hands tied behind her back, which is also how I would top her, with both her hands tied behind her back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dan, you're number one.
My number one is Silver Sable. And this ranking is a big mea culpa. I mentioned this when we did the X-Men episode, but boy, did I ever misjudge Silver Sable back when we ranked Spider-Man characters. I said then that I didn't think she took her own pleasure seriously enough to value or enjoy a hookup outside of something that's like directly involved with whatever mission she was doing. And then, after that episode, the Uncanny Spider-Man miniseries came out, and buddy, like, I don't doubt that I've made some incorrect calls on characters before, but never this demonstrably wrong. Like, she might be a professional, but she takes her leisure time very seriously. Now, admittedly, this may have been because in the Uncanny Spider-Man series, her partner in question was Nightcrawler. But look, I can get some blue body paint if that's what she's into. I will move to Las Vegas, shave my head, and join the fucking Blue Man group if it means I can get some of what Nightcrawler was getting in that book from Silver Sable.
I gotta follow this up later because I want to know more.
Oh, I'll tell you, bud. I was reading it and I was like, fuck, I was so wrong.
All right, Annie, take us home. You're number one.
It's the Dark Watchers. All right. So look, listen.
Good for you.
Okay. So, like, from what I've read, these guys aren't exactly interested in getting near you in any way, shape, or form. Like, they're more voyeuristic. And I mean, I could be up for cucking a shadowy form in a hat and walking stick. I mean, I could make that work. But imagine getting close to one, because, like, I think I've talked about this on this show before, probably, but, like, I'm really into the idea of a monster who is fucking you and staring. A monster that doesn't say a word. It just watches you. Like, it is really, really interested in drinking in every moment of pleasure, every micro-expression that flits across your face, every hitch of breath, every pulse at your throat, every single way in which you unspool and come apart at last. I think part of the appeal is knowing that attention is the only thing that it can give. And you have that attention completely. Captivating a creature that watches, and that's all it does. Yes. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the whole list of season 2 medians, meticulously arranged from marginally less fuckable to marginally more fuckable. Now it's time to round out our look at these 21 specimens of mediocrity with a more qualitative analysis. So everybody get ready to turn out the pockets of your heart and find some feelings about these boner-neutral nobodies in a segment we call Let's Unpack That.
I think it's extremely important to let listeners know why we decided to do this again, because I did go, like, Kris, you were the one who was like, no, it's got to be medians again for science reasons, which I appreciate, but I just, like, I would like you to unpack for us why the science is so important.
It's a very meta unpack that.
Yeah, why are we even here? It's kind of ranging into like a philosophical question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. First of all, this wasn't my idea. I just, like, not in a defensive way, but just like, this isn't my fault. No, you pitched this to me as like, should we do this? Should we do something else? And I thought, like, having done one Medians episode, doing another Medians episode just tells us so much. Like, to the extent that it was worthwhile to do one Medians episode, doing another one does so much to like further delineate these characters. And kind of like, I don't know, you, Bob, have like a weird sense of like what the show is and what it's for. And the fact it fascinates me that the search for the median has always been like the driving thing at the center of Hard Choices for some reason. And so given that, it seems like you'd really be missing out to not find the median of the medians. It feels like it is part of our mission somehow, you know?
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that because I definitely, I thought about doing a different version of this, but I do appreciate the fact that whenever we do the Medians episode, it tells us something about all the worlds. And then if we do, like every time we do a Medians episode, it gives us a way to compare across all of the things in a way that fuckability of the universe overall historically never has, despite being extremely important to me that we do it. It has never revealed that, whereas I think this really does.
Yeah. No, that metric is, I don't want to say worthless, but like I definitely have a note on one of the spreadsheets that's like, in this episode, everybody agreed that in this context, rating the universe would mean X. Then they proceeded to rate it on Y. Like, it is even within one episode, like within the space of 5 minutes, you can't really get straight on what the fuck we're talking about here.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that, like, as someone who's done a bunch of these episodes, I feel as though fuckability is a little bit of a moving target. You know, in this episode, as I said, I explicitly tried to look at these characters from a different perspective so that I wasn't just repeating myself from my earlier appearances. But even if I didn't like give myself that mission, I've still found that like returning to characters that I've ranked before, like I will often have a very different take on them. Just because, like, you know, I don't know, I've just, like, think about them differently, or I'm a little different, you know, and it's, like, fuckability, like, as much as big old nerds like me and Kris try to pretend, like, there's only so much objectivity that goes into this, and even if you are being as objective as you are capable of, like, that doesn't mean that you're gonna have the same perspective on it if you know, like a month or a year down the road or whatever it is.
Well, and so much of it is also contextual in that, like, a character who is the middle of the pack in a particular set of characters in a particular setting is going to feel very different when you look at them in an extremely isolated perspective and set them up against someone who is, again, even looking at, like, the fuckability of the universe, a completely different set of standards. Yeah. Like, a bunch of characters from a whole thing where, like, none of them are particularly horny, but you're gonna do your best to put horniness into it, is gonna work very different sitting next to, like, the most average slut of Slut World.
Yeah, what are we doing Hard Choices Slut World, Bob?
You know, you're exactly right, Annie. And, you know, I felt that particularly, like, one of these characters really brought that out, and that's Peter. Because, like, Peter was such an easy pick for near the bottom for me. But, like, in his episode, he's with other characters from a comedy where, like, it's a horror comedy where we understand that most of these characters could kill us. That's very different from this context where it's like we've got characters from other genres. We've got other things to consider. And so, yeah, the context matters a ton. And like, it's not just that even that like the different episodes have sort of different standards, but the fact that like, then when you try to transplant the character, it raises a question of like, am I still fucking this guy in a comedy? Like, because in that context, maybe something good happens, something fun happens.
The difference of getting hit by an anvil in real life versus getting hit by an anvil when you're fucking Bugs Bunny.
Exactly. Like, I thought that, you know, Megan's rating of Peter, that sounds like an episode of What We Do in the Shadows, where like Peter has like kind of like a needy partner who ends up sort of like getting on his nerves because they want him to talk. You know what I mean? That's a what we do in the shadows plot. And that it's weird to like, it's not really apples to apples to compare that to, you know, the Devil Tarot card or Saeed or whoever.
Yeah. I have a question. Kris, you ranked the counselor relatively high, higher than anyone else, I'm fairly certain. And that was more or less on the basis of Inara vouches for her. And so you were like, yeah, I'll see what this is all about. Like, given what you know about Inara and the universe more broadly, what do you feel like is kind of the likely outcome, but that is also like, I guess, ideal for this? You know, like, what kind of sex partner do you think the counselor is? Because you were really just kind of leaving her as a blank slate in your analysis, but it's like, what do you think she's like, and what about that appeals to you?
What we know about her is, if you're the kind of person who may have a lot of sex in their life, may have a lot of stress in their life, you have some time set aside with the counselor. That time is going to be mutually fun and pleasurable and like, I don't want to say healing, like not in a deep way, but just like, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel recharged after this experience. It's going to be positive. Even if the counselor isn't the kind of person you're normally into, it's just going to like lift you up. I feel like that's what Inara is saying in the episode. So while there's going to be some difference between how I feel about it and how Inara feels about it, to me that says that the counselor is like the kind of person who wants to have a good time, and probably for her that is a mutual thing. She's not paying for like, you shut up and let me do what I want. She's paying for like, I need us both to have like a really good time and a really positive experience. You know, I think that she's probably open to other people's sexualities. I think that she's probably looking for like rebuilding, positive, relaxing sex, as opposed to sex that is like hard work, like even if it ultimately is fun for somebody. So that's not the top of the list, but it definitely feels like it's not going to be a bad experience. And I think that's ultimately why she's so high up, is probably because of the very high floor. I think when somebody who has sex for a living picks a sexual partner for a specifically good time, like a vacation, that's something at least good. I don't pretend to know what it is because it's one episode. It's a tiny bit of one episode. But like whatever it is, Inara's not going to feel like she wasted her vacation days on this, you know?
Yeah. Okay,
Dan, I'm super curious about this. What happened? What did Silver Sable do?
Briefly, in the comics, so it's called Uncanny Spider-Man because it's Nightcrawler pretending to be Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
And basically, he's like getting hunted down. And the people trying to hunt him down hire Silver Sable to do it, basically, to find him. And so they have just like a bunch of fights together. At one point, like they're in a sewer when it like collapses on them. They're like trapped in a cave-in together. But like she gets so unbelievably horny for Nightcrawler in this, like, as she's pursuing him. I mean, and like she doesn't let it stop her from chasing after him, but as soon as she clocks out, the two of them meet on the roof of the building she works in and just fuck. Like there's like these panels of, it's like you see the roof of the building, they are like silhouetted against the moon in the night sky. She is on top of him with her back like fully arched. And it's just like they are having the most intense toe curling sex across enemy lines with each other. And it's just like, and then like afterwards, they just like sit next to each other naked on the roof and just like pass hard alcohol back and forth.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That does sound like a good time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want. Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right. You're right. That's hot.
Yeah. So, okay, Annie.
Yeah.
You mentioned part of the appeal about King Kai, and this was a blink and you'll miss it thing, but I caught it. I, as the practiced hard choices participant, didn't escape my perception. You mentioned that King Kai might make you a sandwich.
Yeah.
Now, much has been said of grilled cheeses on this podcast, specifically from you.
I'm just repeating what I've been told.
Is that so? Yeah.
He made a song about it, all right?
Yes. Okay. So, do you feel like he'd give you a grilled cheese sandwich, specifically?
No, because King Kai absolutely strikes me as like a Dagwood kind of guy.
I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
But not just like a square bread. No, this is a kind of man. This man makes you a bespoke hoagie.
No, love a hoagie.
Like,
Okay.
this guy makes you like like a Jersey Mike's wet sandwich.
Uh-huh.
He's got all the fixins in his fucking fridge. That fridge is probably a pocket universe in and of itself.
Yeah.
But like, no, this man makes you like the best sandwich you've ever fucking had, and it's got everything on it because this is a man who absolutely knows his sandwiches.
Yeah. So is that, in your estimation, better or worse than a simple but well-crafted grilled cheese?
I mean, I think that's kind of apples and oranges, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's entirely situational. Sometimes you just really crave a grilled fucking cheese.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if afterwards he was like, "Hey, I had a really good time. I'd like to make you a sandwich." Would you prefer a gigantic Dagwood style hoagie or a simple grilled cheese? You're saying it would just be like a roll of the dice for you. Like some days you'd say one, some days you'd say the other.
I think it's a dealer's choice situation, and I don't mean to make this a test, but it is simply a like. I want him to like know that I don't want like onions on it unless it's like caramelized onions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like just tell him what I don't want on it. And then I want him to craft me a sandwich based on what kind of sex we just had and what we're going to watch on TV now.
Oh, that's a test.
Yeah.
That's for sure a test.
But the thing is that like it's not so much a test so much as just giving yourself over to a master craftsman.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This
beautiful.
This is going with the chef's recommendation for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. That's really good.
What sushi is freshest? You're like, yeah.
Exactly. This is an omakase sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%, except
Exactly.
I am sure that I would hate what he made me. That's the difference. I think it's going to be some bullshit.
I'm sorry. I guess you just need to start training in 50 times Earth's gravity or whatever the fuck it is. You just got to go in for another couple of loops around the whole fucking planet with like Bubbles and Gregory. I'm sorry.
This guy is so much trouble. Jesus Christ. This little round motherfucker. He's like, work for this little blue dick. No, why would I?
Also, you know, maybe Yamcha's there and Yamcha doesn't get to have a sandwich. And that's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
That's true.
You get to sit on his porch and watch Yamcha try to take Bubbles around.
Okay, so Bob, we have I put together the spreadsheet here, and we have like a big 3-way tie for number 5. And stuck in the middle of this big 3-way tie, very unjustly, is Kate Pride, who was ranked number 2 by me, number 5 by both Dan and Andy, and number 19 by you.
Is this you just asking me like what's wrong with me?
Yeah, I mean, that, but I don't know that it's a question.
Let me ask you, Bob, when you ranked her, were you aware that in recent years she was literally a pirate who targeted ships that were preying on refugees, and then later on got knuckle tats that said "kill Shaw"? Shaw being the name of Sebastian Shaw. And then immediately after she got said knuckle tat, she made out with the woman who tattooed her.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know that. That is really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't anybody say that?
Yeah, she had a pirate face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the pirate face doesn't do as much for me as knuckle tattoos and making out with a tattoo artist, because I've always wanted to make out with a hot lady tattoo artist. But
I could hear in your ranking of her, it felt like you were ranking Kitty Pride.
oh yeah,
And like it does, like she really aged in comic book time. Like I haven't kept up with X-Men, but I know enough about her to know that like when you're introduced as like the young character, you get to grow up and everybody else around you stays the same age. And then, you know, you kind of like, you get to have a life. And so there is this weird irony where like when you're introduced as the young fresh-faced character, very often you're the one who gets to like have some experiences and grow until you stop aging at whatever point. So real injustice here, because she's stuck with like, who the fuck is she tied with? Oh yeah, King Kai and Saeed. Travesty.
I mean, do you want me to change my rankings?
I think he's mainly just saying we want you to feel real bad about it. That's all.
Okay.
It's a very small ask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Done. There you go.
I have to say, Dan, I was really interested in your choice to go ahead and try to fuck the Dark Watchers, like, because I was interested in that take, because like, yes, that would be super awkward. Yes, that would be like potentially very disappointing and weird for everybody. Yeah. It never even occurred to me to try to like actually fuck them. So that, and on the one hand, that seems like the more intuitive way to approach this, but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you blew my mind.
Yeah, the boldness to even think like, oh no, they're going to show up for me.
Some of like when I do this show, I really try to take the premise as stated as seriously as possible, and sometimes as literally as possible. It's like you have to be into them. Like so that's why I don't rank on appeal, because I'm assuming the appeal is already there, right? Like if I'm into them, then that's fine. It's like you have to be into them, they have to be into you, and you have to have sex. And so it's like I couldn't do otherwise based on the way that I do this. It was like, what would actually fucking these people be like? And it would be really fucking weird. So, you know?
It'd be really fucking weird. Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah. But yeah, like, I came to that same conclusion where I was like, I don't think you have sex with the Dark Watchers. Like, that seems weird, right? Like, but that's what in my mind, that was what I was being asked to do, is like, evaluate this thing that was kind of inherently impossible and ridiculous. But I was like, that is what the show is, like sometimes I am asked to do the impossible. And in this case, I mean, I don't know. It's what the show is.
It struck me as like, we're approaching this in different ways, because I feel like the way that I approached Karn, I'm like, Karn is unfuckable because I can do whatever around Karn, but like, because he can't really be into it the same way I can be into it. Like, he can't participate in the same way. It's not really sex. But for me, intuitively, like, for me to jerk off, like, on a path through the Santa Lucia Mountains, and there are these like figures in the hills watching me and getting off on it, that's sex for sure. And
see, that's weird, because that's not sex for me, but like Karn using a strap-on or like, I don't know, using a fleshlight, or like turning his body into a whatever, like, that's sex, So even if tools are involved, like, as long as there's like a physical connection of some kind, that's sex. But like voyeurism, even if it's like, even if it's voyeurism where like the two participants are fully aware and like consenting of what's happening, that to me is not sex. So yeah, I think it's just like, it's a category issue, right? It's like what falls into one bucket and what doesn't,
Yeah.
Okay, I just gotta know. The counselor, again, like a 2-sentence summary on the internet and a grainy picture. How did enough people manage to gather some sort of opinion about this character that she even ranked high enough to be an 11?
Well, it turns out Firefly is a pretty
a desolate wasteland. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I'll also point out, Annie, without a hint of judgment, like there is actually an episode that features her. Like, it's not just the wiki entry, although I don't blame you for not.
Yeah, but she seems like it sounds like she's either the B or C plot, and the B and if so, it seems like the plot is largely hinging on a lady sex.
I mean,
that is correct.
Because, it's like the year it is, and it's also the guy that made that show.
For sure. No, I mean, I think the only thing that saves it is there is a scene where we have Inara with the counselor, and they do talk about like why they are here doing this and what they get out of each other. And so we get a little bit like the wiki The wiki doesn't do a great job of capturing it, and it isn't much, but it's more than is on the wiki page.
I tried to find a plot summary for the episode and did a search and find on Counselor, and it showed up 6 times in a very detailed list of the episode.
Yeah, there's very little. There's very little there. But there is that scene. And so we do have, we have the explicit answer from this character with the context that this character is a professional sex worker about why did you pick me to have sex with. So there is some information.
I suppose. It sounds like it's more like she's a blank slate, and that answer is meant to reflect more upon Inara than it is on the person that she's having sex with,
sure.
But I don't know.
Oh yeah, she's definitely more of an element of Inara's character development than she is a character in and of herself.
11?
I will also say there is the sight of her leaving with Inara is enough to drive one crew member to immediately go mastrubate in that episode. So I don't know. It might just be like stock standard, straight male attraction to lesbianism, but maybe there's something to the energy in the room when she enters. Who's to say?
We've all written elaborate fan fiction on this show with less, so I'll give you that.
I take your point, Andy, and it isn't like this is how attracted I am to the character. This is strictly this is my deduction from the text about how fuckable this character must be within the fiction. That's all that it is. Because if
these are the little gray cells of the mind at work.
This is not like if this is what does this character do for me? Yeah, she's just not around long enough.
Fair enough.
Let's get it.
All right. It's time for the good stuff. For all you dedicated bonerologists in the audience, it's time for the true climax of this episode. Certainly the best one we're likely to have in the vicinity of these characters. The final rankings that will generate the hard comparative data that we all crave. These characters may be only marginally fuckable, but they're about to define the baseline by which we can measure the fuckability of every character we've discussed on season 2 of Hard Choices. And for that, I love them. As friends. At number 21, we have Dragon, the one from Shrek.
Wow.
Thank you.
At number 20, Solus. Further vindication for Annie. Number 19, we've got a 2-way tie between Ben Gates and Coriolanus.
Oh, terrible time.
Oh my God. Coriolanus would hate Ben Gates so much. That makes me so happy.
Ben Gates would probably nerd out about him being a history buff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's satisfying.
That's a good relationship. Right? Like the fanboy and the guy who can't stand him.
That's a guy who thinks a lot about the Roman Empire.
Yeah, for real.
In a tie for number 17, we have Soifon and Peter.
Ooh, okay.
That's weird.
At number 15, Karn. At number 14, Guile. At number 13, Bobby Newport. At number 12, the Counselor. At number 11, our median, Oberon. Still just as funny as it was in the Gargoyles episode.
Wow.
That is middle.
That is deeply funny.
Oh my God, he would hate that. He would hate that even more than being the worst.
I know, right? The hottest thing about Oberon is what we're doing to him on this show.
Yes, very much so.
The biggest meh of them all. He's a shrug. Oh, amazing.
At number 10, we have Wee John Feeney. At number 9, The Devil. At number 8, Saravak.
Sorry, Kris just made a real face.
Hold on, Bob. This pause hasn't been long enough. At number 7, we have The Dark Watchers. At number 6, She-Ra. In a tie for number 5, a 3-way tie for number 5, we have King Kai, Saeed, and of course, Kate Pride. At number 2, Yvette. And at number 1, Silver Sable. The tits everyone can agree on.
Absolutely.
As she is known. Boy, this was a rough one.
This was rough.
There was
real rough.
this is the one where it took me so long to find the yes.
Yeah.
As a special effort to garner more data from this delve into season 2's medians, I want to take an additional step here and compare the zenith, the median, and the nadir of this list to the characters in those same positions on last season's list. We're not going to do like rankings or anything. We're just going to like vote straight up on each of these matchups, record the results in our ongoing efforts to understand the mysteries of the boner. So,
Okay.
number 1, okay, zeniths. Who is more fuckable, Silver Sable or Pepe from the Muppets?
I mean, for me, Pepe from the Muppets.
He's a real trash fuck. I don't know.
He's a real trash fuck. And
Because he's a real trash fuck, but he's a real trash fuck.
Yeah,
but he's a Muppet.
for me, Pepe for sure.
But I'm a felt fucker and like
I may not necessarily go with where Inara says, but I will absolutely follow Nightcrawler's little pointed tail anywhere.
Yeah, I gotta go with Silver Sable.
I think I'm on Silver Sable team.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we got a tie. All right, medians. This episode's median, Oberon, versus the median from the previous medians list, Sisyphus and Boldy from Hades.
Here we come to the eternal question. Do I have to fuck the Rock? That's always my bugbear with this character.
you know what? I think Sisyphus and Boldy.
I think Sisyphus and Boldy win because then it's even, like, first off,
Yeah.
they're great. And then second, it's even funnier for Oberon.
Sisyphus and Boldy are definitely more fuckable than Oberon.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
And then Nadirs. George Berger from Hair versus this episode's Nadir, Dragon, the one from Shrek.
Hair?
You know what?
I don't know this guy.
He's kind of like he's Treat Williams, but he's like
He's like a shit-stirring hippie.
Yeah.
You know what? No. Actually, it doesn't even matter. I still have to fall back. Never. Not even once. Not even once with Dragon. Not even
I
once.
think that's where I'm coming down on this too.
I'm gonna go with Dragon. Gonna go Dragon.
So Dragon is worse, Oberon is worse, and then we're tied on Pepe versus Sable. There's only one more thing to determine. What rank out of 10 boners do we award the medians of season 2? As a reminder, their medians of season 1 scored 2.75 out of 10.
I'm gonna round up to a 6 on this. It's a little over a 5 for me, but like the thing about this is my yeses actually start, or rather my no's start at around like 13 for me, which is lower than the median. And like there are a couple of entries on this list that I do feel like pretty enthusiastic about. And looking at the bottom of my list, while I don't want to fuck most of them, I'm also not disgusted or repulsed by them, as I often am with like the bottom of the list. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a slight edge and round up to a 6 for me.
God, I might be like a 3. It's just, I had to reach so much harder on this one, even than like the mailbag episode, which was just like a grab bag of weirdos I've never heard of, but I could probably find something to think about each of them. And so many of these were just grasping at non-sexy straws, and I don't know what the opposite of that is. I don't know what a sexy straw looks like. Whatever it is, it's more interesting than this.
Straws. It's
Yeah, it's a crazy straw for
it's
sure.
a silly straw. Yeah, with boobs or like a penis. Oh, it's just, but just I couldn't. I think it's the amount of enthusiasm I could garner on this, I think brings it to a 3.
I think my enthusiasm takes a sharp turn after number 6. Not that I'm not okay with King Kai, but like, Silver Sable hooking me up with her buddies and like having a bro fuck with her. Then we get into like the weird jokes man and, worse than that. But I think my no doesn't really hit until about number 16, but my meh goes on forever.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to say like probably also about a 3.
Okay.
Maybe I could give it a 4, but like for the universe, I don't. No, it's 3.
So the hardest thing for me here was just this made me consider what is a 1, like because if the other Medians episode is 2.75, and I hated like this list is the most cursed list. This list is thoroughly haunted. This list is like there at every turn there is a character I don't want to spend the time thinking about what it's like to fuck them. It really made me think like what is the worst? Like what episode gets a 1? Not even an episode we would do, but just like an episode that we could do. And I ultimately came down on like this is not that. This is not like American presidents. This is not like this is not like the very worst batch of people you could think of. So I got to give it a 2. But it was close. So that gives us a 3.5, I think, for this list, which seems wrong. I mean, there is no way this is a better list than the last Median's list.
In my opinion, it was as someone who's been on both. Yeah, because my nose on the last list started at I think around 8 or 9, and again, this is 100% from my perspective, and that's how I come up with these numbers. Is at the very least I start with where am I nose, and that's like where I extrapolate from. And so if my nose start later, in my opinion, the way that I do this, that gives it a higher ranking.
Okay.
And then, I'll adjust a little bit if I'm really excited about the top or really disgusted by the bottom or what have you. But yeah, that's where I start from. So in my opinion, the characters on this list appeal to me more than the characters on the last one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's an interesting way to put it, because like quantitatively, like based on the decision about how the medians compare, I think like we came to the consensus that like the median here is the weaker one of the two lists, but nonetheless, what you're saying still holds. So it's just different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
I think my nose probably, starting in that same range, like 8 or 9, is where the last like character I'd, with a shrug, I'd be okay fucking them. And then like it's all downhill from there. I'm curious, Megan, Annie, do you have like any sense of where you start saying no on this list?
Probably number 16.
God, my absolute no, never, absolutely not is Oberon at 17, and then there's the like I don't really think so starts at 15, and above that is who?
Okay.
So the line is somewhere in there, but we just have no idea.
Yeah.
It's a Schrodinger's line.
It's, it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
So what did we learn, everybody?
I learned that I would absolutely murder a grilled cheese sandwich right this second. Like, that entire sandwich discussion,
You're sandwich horny now?
I am going straight to the kitchen afterwards, and what will occur there is best left unsaid.
I learned that it's funnier for Oberon to win a little by winning nothing than it is for him to lose at everything.
Yeah. Because he went into this being like, well, I may have ranked as the median in the Gargoyles episode, but surely I shall be king of the medians.
Yeah.
And no, you are not.
He would get to be like angry about being number 21.
Yeah.
But number 11, it's nothing. It's the same thing about how like the worst thing a movie can do is be boring.
Yeah.
As long as it elicits some strong feeling from you, it has succeeded in some capacity.
Yeah.
Oberon deserves nothing. Just a flat line.
Yeah.
Not even good for him. Meh for him. I still hate him.
I think I learned that even as I have grown since the last Medians episode, but not enough to not make some of these mistakes again. But progress is progress.
Bob, I feel like if you ever got to the point where you stopped making really obvious and horrible mistakes about who you decide to fuck, we would have to end the show.
Yeah.
Like, that is a cornerstone of the product.
Sarvok in particular really stood out to me as like, and like maybe it is a problem with me in this show that I cannot distinguish. Like a guy who wants to be Mr. Murder so bad that he leaves his love behind. I don't think that guy can fuck me the way I want to be fucked. And I understand that for some other people that may be the opposite, and that's valid. But
it's funny.
Yeah, I can't do it.
He can't be Mr. Murder, and I'm going to rub it in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, we were very brave to do this. We were brave to do the first ever Bad Choices together, and we were brave to fuck these nothing characters together.
Yeah, agreed. We deserve plugs.
Hi, hello, it's me. It's me time now. Come find me. Come find me on the internet. I personally am at anniezard.bluesky.social. That's where you'll find me in particular, but you want to hear about all of my things and probably give me some money too. I like that. Hooray! I pay my editors. I am part of Crooked Russian Cam. We do podcasts, as you might imagine. We have I Will Fight You, a sort of sister show to Hard Choices that is less obviously horny, but still all about dumb bullshit that we love. Yeah. We have had many friends on there. Bob's been on an episode.
Yes.
We've broached into the Mulkerin sector by having Dance Sister Claire on. But you will find many friends on there. Lucas Brown is our editor on that. He's great. We also do Gem Jammer, which is an actual play 5e podcast that takes place in the Spelljammer universe, which is extremely stupid and gay, and we love it. Do you like monsters? Do you like monster romance? That's a whole fucking subplot on there, y'all. You can also watch Date Me Dammit, our Otome game dating series, where Mackenzie just finds the shittiest Otomes. They're so bad. That's Crooked Russian Cam. That's crookedrussiancam.horse or crookedrussiancam.gay, or the old .gay horse, as I like to call our website. We have a Patreon link on there. Give me $1.
Yeah.
Also, you can find me over on another podcast that is a confluence of several podcaster friends that is called Binary Break. That is a Digimon actual play podcast that is game mastered by Claire Mulkerin. It is me and a bunch of our other podcaster friends who play a bunch of kids who get trapped in the digital world. That's right, it's a Digimon show, and we are all Digimon. We are all cranky teenagers who are each other's Digimon partners, etc. And it is also a system that Claire made herself that we are using for the show called DigiDice. It's all really fun. It's great. We're deep in season 2 now, and you should go listen to that. That can be found on Blue Sky at binarybreak.bluesky.social.
It is such a phenomenal actual play on every possible level.
Yeah.
Like every single aspect of it, from like the story to the world to the system to the characters to the performances to the music, every single aspect of it is absolutely excellent. Like I love listening to it every single time it comes out. I love talking to Claire about it on the side and helping her to come up with evil machinations. It's wonderful. It's truly one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, everybody on there is firing on all cylinders, and it is such a fun group to be a part of. And I think even if you've never played a Digimon game or watched a Digimon anime or interacted with Digimon at all, besides knowing that sometimes Pikachu wears pants and has guns for hands, you'll still have something that you will really enjoy about Binary Break.
Yes. Yeah. That's me. I know almost nothing about Digimon. And like I watched like 5 episodes once for Smash Fiction. And I think it is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think those are all my plugs. crookedrussiancam.horse or crookedrussiancam.gay and Binary Break. Also, there's a Patreon. Give me $1 and also give Claire $1.
Yes, do it.
So I am Kris Newton. I am the host of Cast, which is not coming out right now. But you can give me money anyway. Nobody's stopping you. Patreon.
Just give everybody money.
Yeah, patreon.com/MegaDumpCast. $1 here, $1 there. It doesn't add up. That's what's great about math. But it will start coming out again in August. In the meantime, if you go to MegaDumpCast, you will find a podcast about the dumbest thing on every goddamn page of various role-playing games and role-playing game supplements. The last season was about a bunch of World of Darkness shit, taking us from the very beginning of the World of Darkness to an end time scenario for Vampire the Masquerade. It was a great time, and it was the beginning of MeganBob's OnlyFans. Fast pass to MeganBob. MeganBob, do your plugs.
Oh, no! I have an OnlyFans. It's onlyfans.com/MeganBob. You can give me money there and see my tits, which is not true of everything on the internet. I also have a regular way of giving me money at patreon.com/hardchoices, where you can give me money and you can listen to all the outtakes. There's bonus content that comes out sometimes. I have a bunch of bonus content that I'm sitting on because I haven't sat down and edited it yet, but I need to. Hopefully you like math, because I'm also going to bully Kris into doing more math about this. So that should, let me just throw it back to Kris. Hey, Kris, when's fucking Hard Data coming out?
Whenever you'll record it with me. That's when.
Yep. Pass back to me.
Yep.
Oh,
I passed
no.
it back directly into your face and knocked you unconscious. I win it. Basketball.
Yeah, I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
We don't
Pretty sure that's the
understand
rules.
sports. All right. It's me, MeganBob, the host and horny genius behind Hard Choices, the very podcast that you have been listening to. And if you're listening to this episode, medians of all fucking things, you have got to be a diehard. Very proud of you for understanding that this is a math and science podcast, not just a filth fest. And I have some fucking thrilling news for you. Bad Choices Shrek. Yes, that's right. I have decided that the time has come for us to get down and dirty in that nasty swamp. Who's going to be there? Kit Mulkerin, Mac, James D'Amato, a lot of alcohol, my horny fanfic that I'm going to write for it. All of this is happening on August 9th at 5 p.m. Pacific. It's a Saturday. Clear your calendar. And the best part is, you don't even have to wear pants. It's a fucking live stream and nobody can see you if you're in the audience. So wear whatever you want. Wear your Shrek costume and no underwear. Do it. I fucking dare you. And how do you get to join in this? All you have to do is be a patron at the $4.20 tier or above, and you get to come to Bad Choices. You get to help us make bad choices. Because also, if you subscribe at that tier, you're the one who gets to vote on the nasty fanfic that I write. I don't know who's going to fuck in this fanfic. I'm a little afraid to find out, honestly. But look, that's a problem for future me. Future me is the one who's going to have to write it. I just have to tell you how fucking exciting it's going to be whenever we read it while we're drunk. Is it going to be Shrek and the Gingerbread Man? The most problematic size difference. And also, look, I've been getting into Mpreg lately. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? Certainly not me. Why else is it worth being a patron? Annie Craton and I have started making bonus content together. It's called Aloe and Ace are on the case, and we look at nightmare sex toys from Shein, Temu, those kinds of places, and go, why? What the fuck am I looking at? Because I can't imagine that you want to spend all of your time spelunking in the darkest depths of the internet, but baby, I do. And I would love to tell you what I find in these caves. And if you're a patron at the $4.20 tier or above, you're the ones who get to vote on what the fuck Annie Craton and I look at. Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to have a command performance of us talking about a horse dildo? A horse dildo that we give a lot of characterization to and now kind of want to adopt? I can only presume that you do. There's 2 episodes of that up already. There's more to come. Weird Choices Dice with James D'Amato is up there. Office Supplies with Cam Servo is up there. Look, there's a ton of bonus content. Go over to patreon.com/hardchoices and become a patron. Get in on this. Vote and make all of my nightmares come true, please. And also do it for Bad Choices Shrek on Saturday, August 9th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Clear your fucking calendar. I want you to be there. I want you to see us make the DreamWorks smirk faces. I know, already, a horrifying proposition, and yet, now that I have spoken it into existence, it's a requirement. A portion of the evening will be dedicated to each of us trying to do our best DreamWorks smirk. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a fan of this show and for showing up for all the weird shit that we do. It means the fucking world. And I will meet you back here very soon for Comic Book Weirdos. That's right. We're digging into the deepest depths of comic book fandom to find some real fucking oddballs and then wrecking their shit. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this frankly very brave and relentless episode of Hard Choices, where we were heroes, I would say.
Yeah.
And for that, I think you should go give all of us $1. I mean, Dan doesn't have a way for you to give him $1, but you should go find a way to give Dan $1.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And
I ranked Sarevok number 2.
Yeah.
Right? If that's not worth $1, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Go look for his Cash App or his WhatsApp or his money hole. I don't know what the
Look for my money hole, everyone.
You heard it here first.
And until next time, stay hard.
Man, fuck this episode.
This has been Hard Choices. If you want to show your support and get access to all kinds of extra episodes, outtakes, and other goodies, go to patreon.com/hardchoices. You can get in on the after party for as little as $1.69, baby! You can see more of MeganBob's solo work over at onlyfans.com/MeganBob. It's free to subscribe, and there's some choice stuff to savor if you're ready to drop a few bucks on bespoke sexiness. If you had a good time listening, please leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Heck, drop a recommendation to us on social media. Tell a friend about the show. Tell your favorite subreddit. Anything you do to spread the word means a ton and helps Hard Choices become more powerfully thirsty than ever before. This episode was produced by Kris Newton. Go listen to his podcast, MegaDumbcast, and laugh your fucking ass off at the weirdness of role-playing games. You can listen to his work at megadumbcast.podbean.com or support his work at patreon.com/megadumbcast. The music used in this production is licensed through Upbeat. You can find details in our show notes and hear lots of great tunes at upbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Elliot B.K. Lang. Please go follow their work at Elliot B.K. Lang on Blue Sky, spelled ELLIOTBKLANGE.BSKY.social. Their art is so cute. If you'd like to get into touch with us, email hardchoicespod@gmail.com and say, hey. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!